I got your fucking picture. So on September 13th, 2024, I walked down. There was an African American male over right around here, and the same styled vendor over there. I walk in through here. Now, if they heard my music, it was probably pretty loud, and that could have scared them because I noticed that they were already staring at me. But as I come around here, there's one guy on the bench, and then there's one guy over here where these fruit stands are close to it in this proximity. He then decides, oh, he's got you know, so on and so forth on his side, like a side piece or whatever he thought. So both of them, one of them bolted this way backwards. He's the one that made the phone call. The other one started running out this way into the sand, and then I just casually ran my route to go where I was going. Now, the other situation that took place on that day, since we're just right around here, just remember there's a bunch of kids here on September 13th, later in that day. As I'm on the running path, I see a gentleman where this family is up here. He's got a telescopic lens, like any creep would have while he's in the children's place. I tell him not to take a photo of me, and then I proceed to head back this way to go and take a shower. And by the time the officers arrived, they didn't want to hear anything I had to say about the situation. I had to was ordered to get on the ground, and I had just gotten done taking a shower, so I was really adhesive to the sand. So I was down on the ground for that. But then eventually, when I was getting handcuffed, the officer Reyes had tripped me, either to provoke me into something or just incidentally, either or. It took place right here, and then I guess from there you can all see what happened. But plenty of people were here with their kids, and if there was only one complaint, I think that's impressive considering what he had said took place. Thank you and have a great day. Hey, I'm just going to clear up what I think is the most obvious, egregious points of the whole incident. Now, after I was taken in, they made a lot of embellishments, and I just wanted to point out some things. And we're going to go in order. So, arguing with bystanders, there was only one person I remember who kept checking over his shoulder, and he had seemed like he was really interested in my aesthetic, and I just told him to mind his business, and that was not really an argument. I was running at the time, and I never stopped to talk to him, so that's the only person that there wasn't a quote-unquote argument with. Entering the female's bathroom, which has completely been debunked, considering that the bathrooms at all the locations were all gender neutral for over 14 months. In Santa Monica, July 1st, 2023 was when that happened, but the arrest happened in September 13th, 2024. So Sanchez lied in order to turn everybody against me, and it worked really well against these people in this facility. So you'll see how they changed all of their language because of how he made it seem like I was a terrible person. And was seen pointing a pepper gun at a person. Never pointed at the person named Brian Duffin, who was the one who ended up pushing me off the skateboard from behind. I had it put on my side pocket of my backpack because you're not allowed to retaliate, but you are allowed to self-defend. So if you have something, you need to have it quickly be able to be deployed, or you're going to lose the opportunity of defending yourself, which can leave you obviously in a situation where if you choose to retaliate, you could be getting in trouble. So it's better to have it, not need it, and then need it, not have it. So I kept it close by. But again, never pointed at anybody. I just want to point out that I wish I did spray it, because then there would have been less discretion on what type of device it was. But at any rate, it was blue in nature, and you could have, just calmed down for a second and realize it's just pepper spray. But anyways, I appeared disheveled, bizarre, and covered with sand. This is when Officer Reyes tripped me as I was being handcuffed into the sand right after I got done taking a shower. So I was extremely adhesive to the sand, and there's nothing I can do about that as I'm being handcuffed and I'm arriving into the hospital the way that after that happened. But it was an attempt to get me to react, and I didn't. So I'm proud of myself for not doing that. The next point I want to point out is Paranoid claims that the pepper gun is to protect himself because he believes people want to shoot him. Now, I don't know where they got this from. This is absolutely in no species of truth was I afraid of anybody shooting me. And you wouldn't want to bring pepper spray to a gunfight. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And yes, you do want it to protect yourself in case there's going to be simple battery, which is the portion of where a device such as pepper spray would work. It's beyond a harsh word, but below aggravated battery sits a large gray area of simple battery. And I think a lot of times just brandishing it alone without actually having to spray it is going to help out. Unfortunately, it didn't help out in this situation. I should have just sprayed it so people knew exactly what was going on. But Officer Sanchez 4112 did inspect it on the 12th, so he knew it was pepper spray this whole time. And so anything that's made to make it sound worse than it is was an attempt to weaponize. It's called historical weaponization to destroy my present position. And that's what he did very adroitly throughout this entire interaction. So you can also see that there was an attempt by the officers at the pier to terrify me into believing that if I pulled out this pepper spray, I might get shot by an undercover cop. And that might have come into play as to why this sentence is even written here. But I clearly say into that interview that they took place at the pier that I'm not afraid of that, because I think they would use better discretion than just immediately start shooting. And since they posed that hypothetical, I just didn't react to the level of fear that they wanted. But I assure you that the officer in the hypothetical would have better discretion just than to immediately start shooting. That sounds ridiculous. It sounds almost cartoonish, if not just Hollywood movie style. Admitted with a pepper gun, which the patient uses as a weapon. Never uses a weapon. I always use it as a self-defense device. And I actually didn't use it. I only pulled it out just so Brian knew that I didn't want to fight. I just wanted peace to be between us, and he immediately complied. And that was the end of it. And I tucked it away following that situation. So I think that should clear up what was on the first document here. We're going to go to the second document. Second document, unspecified mood disorder. How do you even treat that? That sounds like basically we've wasted your time here. Again, from the 13th to the 14th, the shortest amount of hold you can have on anybody. You came into excess and involuntary hold to danger to yourself. Danger to self. How do you become danger to yourself with just pepper spray? That sounds pretty ridiculous. danger to others as a result of pointing a firearm at bystanders and starting arguments. See, this is where I say embellishments to the next level right here. This would never happen. So again, this is why you should never listen to these liars, because that's what they'll do. They'll embellish it, and that it probably all just started because Sanchez wrote in that I was trying to sneak into the females' restroom, and there were female nurses doing the intake. So that's where it probably all came from. But thank you and have a great day. So the different kinds of pepper spray you could pull out in a situation depends on the style you want, but honestly, having anything bright in color is really stupid because they'll have a chance to see and recognize what you're doing ahead of time. These two are both suboptimal, considering you would have to hold it like this, which I consider pretty much putting perfume on somebody. It's very difficult. And then this one is perfect because at a distance you can keep yourself, as well as it's always facing the right direction. You've got good muscles that are going to be used while adrenaline is running through your body, because you're only using very weak muscles when you're using it and holding it like this, which your wrist all cramped up doesn't really help. Try to control the device. You could ended up wasting a lot of the fluid by moving it around because of the adrenaline. But the best thing about this is that there's virtually no blowback, considering the stream shoots out much further. And the idea I had when I was wearing this is to keep it on my side holster, or side pocket, I guess, of my backpack, just so I could not be accused of retaliation, just use it for self-defense. I think it's a better method than actually using my fist or my feet in order to kick somebody or punch them in the mouth and then fall on their cerebellum on the ground, and now we have to go to the hospital and go to court for all these things. It worked effectively with Brian Duffin, who backed down immediately, and that's exactly what I wanted. I didn't want to continue to physically escalate things, even though he initiated it by pushing me from behind on my skateboard. Now, I started with this one because I had a situation in Santa Monica, like I stated about Brian Duffin, in roughly September 12th through the 13th, where on the September 12th through the 13th, 2024, with Officer Sanchez, and how he didn't really like this device, but I ended up concealing it in a plastic bag so it didn't look as menacing. But honestly, if you have to pull it out, it needs to be ready to go, because what's the point to having heat to blast if you can't reach and grab it? I decided after that situation to switch to this. I had another scenario where I was down in Newport Beach, where I had this attached to my chest pack. And because I had it attached to my chest pack, they believed that was probable cause for me to get searched, as they had initiated the stop because I was skateboarding in Newport Beach's bike path. So I just was trying to think, I'm like, well, if your daughter is carrying this and it's on a keychain, which is smart because, again, you don't want to have it tucked away completely because it'll just take way too long to get out. Retaliation is against the law. And if you pull it from way deep, they're going to have so much chance to respond to what could be anything being pulled out of your pocket or your purse. I would just think that's ridiculous that she would get frisked over this on a skateboard. So I just think overall that it varies what's going to happen to you if you have pepper spray on you. For instance, I had a situation in Venice where I had a 2v1, and I guess luckily, if you want to say it, I had this tucked away completely in a pocket, concealed in a pocket, and because it was so well hidden, They didn't know what I was pulling out of my pocket, so they assumed it was an actual firearm. But I only had pepper spray, and it was just this. So because of that situation in Venice, I went from taking it out of the pocket and putting it on my chest bag, which backfired considering the Newport Beach police decided to detain me for 45 minutes just because I had the pepper spray on my chest bag. So there's no real winning. It's all just based on the situation where you can survive. Thank you.